That's what it's all about.
He's into the end zone! He caught it! Are you kidding me with that catch, JJ?
It is the Week 6 edition of Vikings Weekly as we welcome you inside the TCO studios. My name is Gabe Henderson. That's Tatum Everett. And the team in purple is looking forward to getting their second win of the season, this time against division foe, the Chicago Bears.
That's right. They're headed to Soldier Field against a team who they've beaten 5 of the last 6 matchups. So here on Vikings Weekly, we're going to get you ready for the first divisional opponent of the season. Coming up in the show, we'll get reaction from head coach Kevin O'Connell and experts on the heels of Justin Jefferson getting placed on injured reserve. We'll hit the film room with Pete Bursich, and Courtney Cronin, ESPN reporter who covers the Bears, joins us to dissect this week's game.
Well, for the first time since 2020, the Minnesota Vikings will head into Soldier Field without its star wide receiver Justin Jefferson, who recently suffered a hamstring injury in last week's loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. He's on injury reserve now, and this is a tall task for this Minnesota Vikings team.
Yeah, Gabe, it really is such a bummer.
Yeah.
Let's hear some reaction, though, from our experts on how the team can move forward on this news about Justin Jefferson.
Viking fans, what did we do to deserve this? Come on, Justin Jefferson, hamstring injury, 4 weeks out on IR. I understand these hamstring injuries they're tricky. They're tricky little devils. You might feel great, but you still probably need another week or two until you're fully healthy. So I expect him to probably use all the 4 weeks. Next man up mentality. That's just the way it is in all professional sports. So everybody's got to step up. Jordan Addison's got to step up. KJ, Hawk, the running backs out of the backfield. It's going to be all hands on deck. But I've got faith. We're going to get this thing figured out. We'll get it figured out this week in Chicago. Bye.
Well, Justin Jefferson's on IR. We know what that means. Well, this is a team that's going to be resilient. As a person who's played the position, has had a hamstring injury, first, I want to say it sucks to see a guy go down like that of that caliber. The clip he was at heading towards 2,000 yards. You got the number 1 passing quarterback in the NFL who's going to be missing his number 1 weapon. That's tough to replace. You don't replace Justin Jefferson with 1 person, 2 people, or 3. You have to get everybody around from Cam Akers to Alexander Madison. Everybody has to have a heightened focus on catching every single ball, keeping every single ball in and not fumbling, because Justin Jefferson's production, I don't know how you recreate it. But the one thing for this is Jordan Addison is going to have a chance to really flourish in his offense. I think Kirk Cousins is going to find a new weapon in Jordan Addison. And then hopefully when Justin Jefferson comes back, now you have 2 true weapons in Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson that he can trust. But again, the mental side of this for Justin Jefferson is going to be the toughest, because every day he comes to work, it's going to be a grueling rehab process to get that hamstring back right. And the soft tissue injuries, the one thing you don't want to do is rush it back. So hopefully he comes back healthy, happy, and then everybody makes it through. But the Minnesota Vikings have a tough test the next 4 weeks.
Obviously, it's never a good thing when you lose your best player. The Vikings have their work cut out for them moving forward. But I think as a fan, the thing that's extra tough about it is I grew up on Randy Moss and Kevin Garnett. The excitement, the electricity that was in the town when those 2 guys existed was rare. And it's not that we haven't had great players since then, but the emergence of Anthony Edwards and Justin Jefferson at the same time has recreated that same electricity that those guys brought. And it's going to be a bummer to not have that out there for a few weeks. But from a football standpoint, if I put my whiny fan hat aside, this is what happens in the NFL. And it's an opportunity for some of your other guys to step up and show what they're capable of. Jordan Addison was drafted for a reason, and he started to prove that he might be who a lot of people thought he would be. But I think it's going to be great to see him with defensive coordinators giving him a little bit of extra attention. Because, when JJ's out there, Addison kind of gets to, now he's going to be one of the main focuses. I think that's a great challenge for him, and I think it should create an opportunity for him to improve. Also, I'm really intrigued by the Brandon Powell dude. I mean, he's shifty, he's fast. Kirk went to him a bunch of times at the end of the game, so I'm really interested to see what he can do if he gets out on the field. I think the hope here has to be, as much as it sucks to not watch Jefferson, that when Jefferson returns, he's returning to a better and more full-fledged passing attack.
Well, with Justin Jefferson on IR, I got one message to the team, and that's this. Don't tell me how rough the waters are, just bring the ship in. You almost beat the defending Super Bowl champions, and JJ had 3 receptions for 28 yards. Does he attract a lot of attention? Yes. Does he change games? Yes. But if everyone, to the man, comes in, produces more, this team can have a winning record over the next 4 weeks. We watch. It can happen.
Justin Jefferson has played in 92% of all of the Vikings offensive snaps since 2020, and now he makes up almost 40% of the Vikings receiving yards so far this season.
And it'll be head coach Kevin O'Connell who draws up the game plan to try and replace JJ's production. He sat down with voice of the Vikings, Paul Allen, in this episode of X's and O's.
One-on-one chat with our coach, Minnesota Vikings head coach, KOC, Kevin O'Connell, thanks to the Minnesota Lottery with the Bears on the horizon. Now, we'll discuss Justin Jefferson and the immediacy of moving forward first, but I was thinking, do you ever have a vision? You ever think about maybe you and your father Bill and say Wes and his father Wade? You guys are sitting around down the road. You just want a massive, massive playoff game for the Vikings or something like that, maybe even this year. And you lean back and you're remember 2023?
Yep.
And all those, an unprecedented amount of fumbles lost and balls that can't be caught for whatever the reason and just so on, and losing the photos at the wire that you won in 2022. And it's days gone by. You ever think of that with you and Bill and Wade and Wes?
Well, what I do think about and what I talk to our team about is I do believe, true growth comes in moments like this. And I do believe that if we handle things the right way, and I believe our team will, we continue to go back to work. We continue to emphasize trying to not be a repeat offending type of team of some of these things, from ball security to maybe just the pitch and catch execution that we've come to kind of know as the standard around here. Defensively is the same thing. We're going to make some plays on some of these footballs that quarterbacks put up in harm's way, and it hasn't quite consistently happened as much as we would like. But I do believe growth can come from this, and what a story it can be. And I always emphasize this to our team. We hold the pen. We're writing our story, and it's not always going to go the way we want. We're going to have to deal with results that, quite frankly, make you sick and are hard for everybody to deal with in this building. But if we use it the right way to fuel how we move forward, I do believe that will ultimately make this team and this organization a better version of what we are currently, because we're able to overcome and do it together in a way where we just keep on chasing that next performance being our best performance.
And Kevin, speaking of doing it together, specifically with the offensive staff, and maybe I'm being too Pollyanna with this, but you just said opportunity to grow. And with Jefferson and the handful of games or whatever, do you look at it like this is an opportunity for A, B, C, D, E, F, G to really build a different form of confidence, solidify themselves in a different way, and then when 18 comes back, X amount of players and situations are stronger, and he's going to be strong when he gets back?
No question. And I think it's the same thing we just talked about, opportunity for growth on an individual level, leadership from some of our guys like Kirk and Brian O'Neill, Alex Madison, KJ Osborne, TJ Hawkinson, and then some of our, young players we're really excited about. I'm going to be 100% honest. I think Jordan Addison is becoming everything that I had hoped when I first turned on the tape of him, watching him at USC and previously at Pittsburgh before that. And there's no reason in the world why he can't carry over the success he's had kind of in that Robin-esque role as Batman, and knowing that, he's going to get his number called. He's going to get opportunities. Be confident in what you've done already, but be ready for the moment too when we call on you in big moments, because he's already shown his ability to respond. But how can we all be a little bit better? How can I make sure that every single play call that we put into the game plan, what I'm calling on Sundays, gives our guys the best possible chance to go out there and execute and do the things that we're never going to ask guys to do, things that we don't think that they're capable of, and we happen to be very fortunate to have a lot of capable players on our offensive side.
For the complete X's and O's episode, check out Vikings.com. More to come on Vikings Weekly after the break. ESPN's Courtney Cronin joins the show with her expert analysis, and we'll catch up with Pete Bursich in the film room. Welcome into Vikings Weekly. I'm Tatum, this is Gabe, and if you haven't been to a Vikings game this season, first of all, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's your fault.
You're missing out. Second of all, we get a chance to highlight someone in the community doing good things.
And in this week's edition of Hometown Hero, we highlight a group in the Twin Cities called the Pink Ladies. Their mission is to raise awareness on early detection for breast cancer in women. Let's check it out.
I was actually misdiagnosed. 3 years later, I found out that lump was actually stage 4 cancer. My support system was my family. It's very important to have a system of family. That's where the Pink Ladies come into effect, you know? Our core mission is to get the word out, the importance of early detection. Early detection does save lives. In my culture, we don't go in for those mammograms. We don't talk about it. And my goal is to get us to get out there and talk about it. The Pink Ladies, it's all positive. It's the energy, you know, when you see the sign, the breast cancer sign, you see hope. But when you feel hope, it's a visual thing, not just to say it. Just keep that positive attitude and keep smiling.
Please welcome today's hometown hero, Pamela Weems and the Pink Ladies.
Well, I just love their energy. The Pink Ladies, what great women doing great things.
Absolutely.
I tell you what. Well, now we have to get back on track, though, Gabe, because there is a huge game on Sunday. And recently, you got to catch up with an old friend of ours.
Old friend of ours, old friend of yours, mine, Courtney Cronin from ESPN. I sat down with her to preview the upcoming Bears versus Vikings matchup on Sunday. Let's check it out. The Vikings looking forward to getting their second win of the season, and helping me break down this upcoming Sunday's matchup with the Bears is our friend, Miss Courtney Cronin from ESPN. And Courtney, these are two 1-4 teams, and just being objective here, you know this Vikings team very well. You cover the Bears now. How do you see this matchup going on Sunday?
Yeah, it's the bottom of the NFC North. I don't think that anybody would have thought that the Vikings would be in this situation going into Week 6, but here they are with identical record as a Chicago Bears team that's in year 2 of this rebuild and coming off a really emotional, important win, their first win in nearly a calendar year. So both teams oddly in the same sort of footing right now, but certainly there's differences within, you know, the quarterback experience and the way these two defenses look, where you can point to certain advantages here for both the Vikings and the Bears trying to level the playing field. But it's tough because this Bears team, at least the last couple weeks from what we've seen, they're a team that's been trying to climb out of a really tough start, an 0-4 start. They go on the road to Washington to get a 20-point win. So there's things that they hope to build off of, but they know that when you've got your second division game coming in the first 6 weeks of the season, you've got some ground to make up there, and they certainly know that they have a long way to go to getting to do that.
On the offensive side of the ball for the Bears, if you look at the first 3 games, I believe they averaged less than 4.5 yards per play. And then the past 2 games, they've averaged almost 7 yards per play. What's changed?
DJ Moore. I think that's where it starts, and that's probably where it ends in terms of the changes, big picture-wise. But what you're seeing from Justin Fields after a rough first 3 games, he started to put everything together against Denver. You saw 3 really good quarters, 1 not-so-good quarter there, and then it was a complete game from Fields in the offense against Washington, where they had that game-winning drive at the end of the 4th quarter to seal the game, to put Washington away, and to leave nothing in doubt. And the way that this offense has gotten its identity, or at least been able to carve out its identity and get things gearing closer to being on track, because we're not going to say that they're there at 1-4 right now, is getting the ball in the hands of the team's best playmaker. I know that when I covered Minnesota, that was the theme, get the ball to Justin Jefferson. Here in Chicago, it's no different. It's just get the ball to DJ Moore. They've got a really solid run game right now. They're dealing with injuries, but they've been able to run the ball well to take some of that pressure off Justin Fields, who this year isn't running nearly as much. But they're making plays in the pocket. They're making some plays out of the pocket. And that's something that this offense hopes to build on as it continues to form its identity, and that identity being centered around its best offensive player.
I want you to put on your Vikings hat for this next question. I know you cover the Bears, but I'm going to have you rewind back and just think from the Vikings offensive standpoint. How do you, I guess, just find ways to make plays on this Bears defense? They're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, it requires creative thinking in the way that you dial up pressures. And we heard Matt Eberflus today say that, going into this mini bye week that they had, they were going to self-scout the defense and try to figure out ways that they can get more creative with play calling, more creative ways to use their personnel. And maybe that's dialing up some more blitzes, more exotic looks. We saw the beginning of that against Washington. And Eberflus said on Monday that he might be open to the idea to hire a senior defensive assistant, an analyst, somebody to look forward on opponents. And who knows if that ends up taking shape this week, if that's something that's going to pay dividends against Minnesota. But what we're seeing with Eberflus now, having called the defense since Alan Williams, his resignation earlier this season, but that started before it started week 2 in the Tampa Bay game. Eberflus, he's getting more comfortable getting back into that role. And obviously these players are getting more used to the head coach calling the defense and knowing what to expect and what role they might be utilized in. And I think you're seeing consistently on a week-to-week basis, it might not be much, but the pressure rates are going up. And what you saw, 5 sacks the other night against the Commanders. 2 of those came from guys that aren't on the defensive line. It came from TJ Edwards first and then Greg Stroman Jr., the cornerback. You want to be able to generate pressure with your 4 down linemen. That's the philosophy of this defense. That is how it was built, but they've had to find other ways to get home. And what we saw against Washington, what they're going to try to do against the Vikings is utilize that same strategy to chip away and create pressure, and then eventually be able to wear down the offensive line, the unit up front blocking in front of Kirk Cousins to try to get home to him as well.
Thank you so much to Courtney Cronin for joining us this week, especially since she's been killing it at ESPN.com and on the airwaves all over ESPN TV, especially since she was just here only 2 seasons ago covering our Vikings. Okay, you got something else for us?
Yeah, it's now time to go to the film room with Pete Burcich. Justin Fields and the Bears are coming off their first win in over 345 days. And our guy Pete Burcich has the secret formula on how the Vikings can carve out a win on Sunday against the Chicago Bears.
Welcome back to another edition of Vikings Film Room, brought to you by the Vikings Entertainment Network. I'm your host, Pete Burcich. Well, these Chicago Bears just snapped a 14-game losing streak. DJ Moore, 8 receptions, 230 yards, 3 touchdowns. Justin Fields, almost 800 all-purpose yards the last couple of weeks. Are these the real monsters of the Midway, or is it the same old Bears that we've grown to love? Let's dive into the film and take a look and see what these Vikings are up against on Sunday. Now, the headlines coming out of Washington, they were all about DJ Moore, but I want to start right here and say, don't forget about this guy, Darnell Mooney. And we're going to see the opportunities that Fields had with Mooney, and it's somebody you have to account for. In this case, you're going to see Mooney starts here at the bottom of your screen. They're going to put him in motion, and it's the effect of the emotion that's very important. You can see his relationship with the corner, and it's important because just before the snap, this corner is not set. He's not ready, and he's also inside. So once the ball is snapped, you're going to see this relationship switch. The corner goes to the outside, but what Mooney does is he does a great job of working the middle of the field, making this corner, who had to overrun it, now he's trying to squeeze and get back into shape, makes a beautiful move right here, gets to the outside, look at all that open space. He's wide open, the ball's delivered, and he just didn't catch it. That's a 30-some yard completion right there left on the table.
Well, the Vikings are looking forward to getting their 4th straight win at Soldier Field, and as we stated before, they'll have to do so without Vikings star wide receiver Justin Jefferson, who was officially placed on injury reserve earlier this week. Like I said before, Tatum, this is no easy task, but the Vikings remain confident that they have enough firepower on offense to get a win on Sunday.
That's right. It is going to be a huge noon kickoff on Fox, and that's how we're going to end Vikings Weekly. But we are going to leave you with one more really cool video that we are really proud of. Recently, 15 cancer survivors and those battling cancer currently, we partnered with the American Cancer Society and Sleep Number to have the 3rd annual Pamper Her Purple event. Check this out, and we will see you guys next week.
Oh my God!
So I just want to welcome you guys to Pamper Her Purple. I'm hearing that y'all have had a great day so far. October is super special to me. I lost my mom about 3 years ago to pancreatic cancer. The month of October, just highlighting the crucial catch is a big deal for our family.
A crucial catch is important. It's about early detection of cancer. Cancer has affected every single one of us. Personally, my dad had prostate cancer and then he passed away from lymphoma. So it's encouraging to see all these women here today behind me, in their own battles with cancer. And it's important for us as an organization to support them and to try and beat cancer.
Hope you guys aren't doing anything Sunday. We're going to surprise y'all. Each guest will get 2 tickets to the game this Sunday.
Oh my God.
I think just to honor them and to have them present for such a big game, this is going to be a fun game. Taylor Swift might show up. I don't know.
It's just important that everyone here knows that not only myself but our whole team, CJ, we're all right there with you guys every step of the way. The only thing you can do is just to get up the next day and keep on fighting. And when the next day comes, you just keep on getting up and keep on fighting, and eventually we will beat this and we'll beat it together.
I think these cancer survivors that are here today, that's what they've been doing. They've just been fighting and fighting.
I look at ACS as having saved my life, because many years ago they didn't even know about triple negative. So I feel that the research that was done probably helped save my life.
And so a chance for CJ and Stephanie to give them a day where they can just feel the hope and the love of this community. It speaks volumes to CJ and Stephanie and the whole Vikings organization.
Mine was caught really early, both of them. And because of that, I had, treatment right away, and so I'm still alive.
My mom was the strongest person I ever knew, and I knew all these people here are just as strong, and they wouldn't be here if they weren't. So just to keep on fighting and just to enjoy today, enjoy everything that comes with today, seeing all the stuff and getting pampered.